Oh, hello, hello again. Welcome to part two of 6 ways to recognize your inner critic is running the show. I'm Karen Shier of Karen Shier Coaching, and I hope that so far you like this series. And this is part two of a three-part series. And sometimes our inner critic or ego is running the show and we don't even know it. And in our first video, we talked about 6 symptoms of our inner critic's whisperings that let us know that our inner critic might be in control of what we're going through. We talked about number one, feelings of not enoughness. We talked about number two, judgment, self-doubt, and worry. The third symptom was procrastination. The fourth was what if thinking. The fifth was fear or guilt. And finally, the last one we talked about was defensiveness, feeling defensive when someone offers help or advice to you. Those are all symptoms of your inner critic, and knowing that your inner critic might be running the show for you. So in this video number two, we're going to talk about 6 questions to help you recognize when your inner critic is center stage in your life. And these are also really great journaling prompts so that you can go deeper. And I'm going to give them to you now, and then we'll go from there. So the first one is, when you hear a thought come up, think about it. When did this belief begin? Do you remember it from childhood or from others speaking it to you? Maybe you heard it from, an authority figure, a parent, a grandparent, a teacher. Do you remember hearing it? And when did that belief begin? If you feel like you remember it from childhood or from others speaking and you answer yes to that question, then your inner critic might be in control. These are probably imprints that you're dealing with, and they're probably beliefs that may or may not be true for you now. The second question that I like to ask myself is, does this thought or belief I have ring true for me now? If it doesn't ring true for me now, if it doesn't feel good to me now, then it's time to consciously choose a different thought. And yes, you can choose to think differently. Thoughts are, beliefs are simply thoughts that you think over and over and over again. And if there's something that you find yourself saying, simple example, money doesn't grow on trees, and some of those things, those mantras that we've heard when we were little, perhaps. If that's not a belief that rings true for you now, just consciously choose a different thought and shift that thought process. The third question that I often ask is, how does this thought or belief make me feel when I say it out loud? If that thought comes to you, and how does it make you feel? Really feel it in your body. Do you feel any restriction? Do you feel any constriction? Do you feel any pain in your body? Does it just not feel good? If that's the case, then it's coming from your inner critic. It's your inner critic trying to keep you safe and safely stuck in your current situation. And so if it doesn't feel good when you say it out loud, then you know that it's just not your truth anymore, and you need to shift that thought process or that belief. Number 4, would I lovingly repeat this thought or belief to a small child? Would you ever say you're not enough to a child? Would you ever say you're so stupid? Well, if you wouldn't, then you shouldn't be saying it to yourself. And we need to shift that thought process. We need to shift how our brains are wired. And so those thought processes and whatever that thing is that inner critic is whispering to you needs to be changed, because it's not your truth. The fifth one is the thought or belief keeping you comfortably stuck, or is it inhibiting you from trying something new? Are you feeling fearful? Are you feeling fearful to try something new? Or are you having those feelings of, it's just easier to stay where I'm at and not make a change? Those are coming from your inner critic. Just understand that if you're feeling that way, your inner critic is trying to keep you in the same space you are. And that's going to inhibit your growth. And your personal development and your happiness. So just be aware. It's a question to ponder. And finally, the last one that I have for you today is Is this thought or belief inspiring me? Does it bring me joy? Does that thought bring you joy? If it doesn't, then again, it's probably your inner critic. And that just gives you some awareness that perhaps you need to think about that and shift that thought process. So I encourage you to really not just ask yourself the questions, but go deep, journal about them. You'll be really amazed at what comes up for you if you journal and actually write them out on paper. It's going to give you a deeper understanding of how that inner critic shows up inside of you. And it's time to shift those energies and quiet down that little inner critic chatter. And this is how you can do it. So go through the questions. And then video number 3, I'm going to share with you a process to start learning how to soothe that inner critic, and something that's real easy. You can do it anytime. And hopefully, that will help you to start shifting some of those thought processes. So some of those disempowering thoughts aren't going to come to your psyche right away. It's you're shifting to a more powerful position and a happier position. And so I hope that you'll come back for video number 3 in this 3-part series. And I will talk to you soon, my friends. Take care for now. Thank you.